Hello there, Eagles fans. Welcome back to our Eagles Therapy Podcast. I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
And we are recording Sunday, December 22nd, 2024, 5 o'clock, couple of hours after the Eagles unfortunately lost their first game in 11 games to the Washington Commanders. Been a while since we had to record a pod after a loss, right, Ed?
Yeah, it was, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in a weird spot, Eagles fans. If you're watching, and if you're not an Eagles fan, whatever. I'm in a weird spot. We lost the game, and of course, during it, it's frustrating. It's upsetting. Devontae drops the ball. Saquon drops the ball. We can't get him. We can't sack him. Yada yada. All that stuff. But once we lost the game, I wasn't. I see these things from NBC Sports Philadelphia. They lost a heartbreaker, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not really that hurt by this. We put up 33 points, and 26 of those were without our starting quarterback.
A quarterback that hasn't played in over a year.
So I'm, and I know people will say the defense let up 36, and I get that, but they also had 5 turnovers that the offense with the backup quarterback did not, score and capitalize on. So. It still sucks to lose. I'm not trying to wash it away and say, "Oh, it's fine," but it still sucks. But it's funny. I'm not like, what do we do?
This wasn't a devastating.
I didn't think so.
Kick in the gut. 33 points. We scored 21 early, which was nice. But it was just. Yeah. It's not devastating. It's just reload, reboot, let's go.
Yeah. I think Pickett played better than I ever expected him to.
Way better.
However, when Hurts went out. And they listed him as out. We both were like, okay, well, we're going to lose. It's kind of it.
It's going to be tough.
I don't like to use injuries as excuse. It never should be used. Your backup quarterback is part of your roster. That's on you to build that and be best. But I really wasn't optimistic to win or anything like that. The defense kept us in it with all those turnovers, which was just unbelievable.
Well, the game should have been over. We had the game won.
Yeah,
it was in our hands. And we dropped it. So, it wasn't just Devontae. There was an A.J. Smith play early where he drifted.
Yep.
I'm sorry. And there was also a Saquon pass.
Yep.
That was in the gut. It wasn't a great pass, wasn't a great play. But I'll tell you what, I thought Kenny Pickett was throwing some dimes out there. Yeah. There were some right in the hands. I was surprised how well he came right into the game. I did not expect Hurts to go out because I saw the hit. It didn't seem like it was that severe, but they know better than we do. So
no, it's true. Yeah, and it's just a bummer. Once your starting quarterback goes out, you kind of sit there and go, well, it's kind of over. We can't. What are you going to do? And like you said, he gave us a lot, much better chance. But after all the turnovers and everything, if you have Hurts in, you probably score a couple touchdowns instead of field goals and 3 and outs. You know what I mean?
And we had a lot of bonehead penalties on us.
Definitely. That was
just our fault, our mistake.
Yeah.
You want to give Sirianni some. A hard time. Maybe it's time to pull in a little bit of that, like we talked about it during the game. We can't have that. I can't see a player getting kicked out of a game for jawing.
Yeah, it's weird.
We never did see the second penalty.
Never saw a second penalty.
Yeah, we never saw
I thought it was strange that he got punched in the face and the penalty was called on him.
A helmet comes flying off. At the least, it would be offsetting at the least.
Yeah.
The Jalen Carter one after the sack.
Yeah.
A shove, a little push. Who knows? Please, in the meantime, he's pulling the quarterback up. I don't know. Just it was hard.
So let's get into the game. Do a little summary. So starting off, we defer, or they won and took it. I would assume we deferred, but they got turnover on downs, 5 plays, our ball. We go down and get a touchdown with Saquon for 2 yards. They fumble the ball. We go down and get a touchdown, and you start thinking, oh my gosh, here we go.
I've done that all year. And should have been an omen, right?
And then they fumble. We score a touchdown. Of course, we throw the touchdown with Kenny Pickett because that's the drive we lost Jalen on. And you're like, okay, well, hey, he threw a touchdown, and now Jalen can come back in. Then we force a punt. They give us the ball back, and then they throw Pickett back out there. And you're like, what's going on here? On the second play, he throws an atrocious interception.
The worst play in the game. And it wasn't on him, guys. It wasn't on him.
It was the coaches.
First of all, they're force feeding it to AJ, right? And those guys knew it. I just don't understand the thinking there is, we kind of got out of the weeds. Let's just run an offense here. Let's just run the ball a few times. And if we have to throw, we have to throw. But that was just an ugly interception from a quarterback who hasn't played. It was a bad call because we're in our end zone.
It was on our 15.
Bad.
Yeah, it was strange.
Can't do that.
On our 15-yard line. And, like you said, they're force-feeding AJ. And, of course, he's going to throw it to A.J. He's the backup quarterback, so that guy kind of knows. He drops back in coverage, gets it. So they score a touchdown a couple plays later, and you're like, okay, now, this stinks. And then Saquon Barkley gets a 68-yard touchdown, and you're going, okay, great. This is good.
We're back in it.
And, maybe Hurts will come back soon after they're done evaluating. It's like the moment they listed him out, we were like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like maybe.
Well, at one point it's funny because we did see him on the sideline after he went in the tent.
Yeah.
He had his helmet on, I believe.
Yeah, he was
standing there. We're like, okay, well, take your time, sir.
Yeah.
Take a drink. We're moving the ball here pretty good.
Yeah.
And then they rule him out. They said something about they took him in the locker room, and we went, what's going on here? And
that was bad. Once they said that he was ruled out, you and I were like, oh, like, dang it, like we're gonna lose. You just know. But so this is great. We force a fumble, another turnover, unbelievable, and then we punt 6 plays later. Then they go down and score a touchdown. Then we punt. Then they punt. Then we punt. Then they throw a pick. And then what happens for the half? We miss a field goal.
Bad omen.
56-yarder. Jake Elliott, I know he made a field goal later in the game. That was 50, and that's great and everything. But I'm saying it now. I'm saying the rest of the season. If this is how he's going to go into the playoffs, he can't be our kicker going into the playoffs. I mean, if you want to win a playoff game, you have to be able to hit a 56-yard field goal. That's chump change in the playoffs. Yeah. I mean, you have to do it.
Great.
If this is going to be a problem, how much did we lose by?
Yeah,
3
points.
So, I'm not going to blame the whole game on him or anything, but this is just, it can't be happening.
When we got the interception, we had 5 plays, we got 11 yards. I mean, it was got to be better than that. Obviously, they were stacking the box and we couldn't run the ball, but it just seemed like there was too many guys being missed when we would pull. We would pull, and then the tackles were being made from behind.
Yeah.
And it was just like, maybe think about dropping somebody or putting a tight end in that motion, that direction.
I don't think it mattered because, unfortunately, this is way off topic, but unfortunately, all the tight ends behind Goddard can't block.
Yeah, Calcaterra cannot block.
Zoma can be a fullback leading block kind of, but Calcaterra cannot block at all. Yeah, I mean, it's terrible. It's bad.
And that's something you got to look at. I mean, you needed that today, and
that's why he was
so many times.
That's why he's a 6th-round pick. I mean,
so many times Calcaterra was just burned bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
I don't know if he didn't know what direction to go or at least shield a guy, but he was
tough game for him.
Really bad. Really bad.
So we missed the field goal, and then we go into the half, and then we go down beginning of the second half, and we go and kick a field goal. And you're like, okay, cool, got some points here. Then they fumble, and you're like, all right, here we go.
Here you go.
Well, then kick a field goal, and you're like,
got to score touchdowns.
Can't win with.
I mean, how far was the field goal? At one point, we kicked a pretty short field goal.
Yeah, this one here that he made was a 40-yarder. It's all right.
So you're at the 23 or so.
Yeah, it wasn't insane, but yeah. Then the fourth quarter, we kick it off to them. They get a touchdown. We punt. They get a touchdown. We get a field goal. They throw an interception. What do we get? A field goal.
That was the big one.
They score down, score a touchdown. So, I know the big thing that people have been kind of bashing is the defense. They're like, well, they let up 36 points. And I get that. That's really bad. And, 2-point conversion at the end of the game to make it 36 to 35. Right. But, interception by the offense on our own side of the field, gave them a 15-yard or 25-yard field, and then all those turnovers. What did we get off of it?
Yeah. Field goal.
Missed a field goal.
Yeah,
touchdown in the early with Pickett throwing it. But
right,
I mean, it's horrible. You can't win kicking field goals, not against playoff teams. We've talked about this before.
It's funny. We were saying keep running the ball, which we did, but 1st and 10, and then you 2nd and 13, 2nd and 14.
It's hard to run against a team when the other team knows you're going to run it.
And they got good linebackers coming up.
And there's no other threat. Yeah. They're sitting back there, the linebackers and the defensive line, they're going, well, they're going to run it. And there's no chance he keeps it because it's Pickett. It's not Jalen Hurts.
Right.
If it's Hurts, they have to respect that, and that opens up things. But, it's just, tough game to lose. Like I said, I'm not heartbroken over it. It's just it's a bummer. But once you lose your starting quarterback in the 11th play, I hate blaming injuries more than anybody. You can't blame injuries.
Right.
Our team was not better than theirs with our backup. It's just how it is.
The worst part about it was having them celebrate at the end there. I mean, 10 seconds left. Did it to us. The last time we played them, they had a last-second drive too.
That's a bummer that with the 10 seconds left, they had a false start.
Yeah, and
they didn't call it. It's kind of a bummer. I didn't like seeing that. But not the greatest officiated game.
Well, I didn't like we had 8 penalties like in the first 10 plays, and I'm like, what's going on here?
I was going to say, I think there were even bad penalties called for us. I mean, I thought it was a pretty poorly called game for both sides. I thought some of the pass interferences they called on AJ were kind of
I had to see when the guy was grabbing his arm.
No, that one was bad, but the second one was nothing. I can't believe they called that. I'm not going to sit here and say we got screwed by the refs because I thought the refs were bad.
But you got to take advantage of that.
I thought the refs were bad on both sides. Yeah. But even when we got helped by the refs, we didn't score touchdowns. I mean,
we're at what, first and goal? No, first and 10 at the 11-yard line, and we didn't score a touchdown.
I mean, what are you going to do?
I don't know. And then, of course, the trick play that.
Let's talk about
that. Snap
to Saquon.
That's just pathetic.
I put it on the Facebook page. I said during the game, I think like that might be the worst play call of Kellen Moore as an Eagle coordinator. I can't believe he did that. Like, that was horrible call. Yeah. And I'm like, why is Saquon in the back? What?
Well, I thought if he's going to snap it to him, just let him run full speed ahead. But then he runs to the right, and then he just jumps in the air.
He's trying to throw it.
I don't know what the heck they were doing.
I thought that was the worst play call.
That was third down. That was just...
Yeah, I thought that was the worst call of the game, and I thought that was the worst play call.
The third by
Kellen Moore. Third and goal. It was third and goal. It doesn't matter where it was. It was goal.
Yeah, that's just...
Yeah, that was one of the worst play calls I've seen by a coach in my Eagles.
Don't do that again.
In my Eagles fandom, I would say.
That one out of the playbook.
Yeah, that was really bad.
Really bad.
Yeah, so Saquon, technically... He had a sack. He was sacked.
Yeah,
and that led to the one of Jake Elliott's. That was the drive at the beginning of the third quarter, so begin the second half, which is when you really needed a touchdown to start turning things around.
I mean, that was a great drive. Remember the third quarter? They did not have the ball much at all.
Yeah,
we controlled the ball.
They had one drive in the third quarter, 3 plays, 2 yards and a fumble.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but what did we get? Field goal.
Right. I mean, we had it for probably 12 minutes. There were 13 minutes in the third quarter.
Yeah, 3 minutes, 20 seconds.
6 points is not going to win the game. No. You score any of those touchdowns right there, and it's out of control. It's out of reach.
It is. Yeah, it's just bad. The settling for field goals was bad. I mean, I always feel like once you get a backup quarterback in the game, the script kind of has to leave in the sense of, and I mean like in the sense of, on 4th and 2, we're going for it wherever. Like, there's just no point in holding it back. There's no point in going, well, we should really do this. No, we're playing with the backup quarterback.
The book says go and get the first down.
The book says that the starting quarterback should be in the game, but he's not.
But the worst part, of course, was Pickett did make a good throw. Devontae dropped it, which was so uncharacteristic for him. And that was the game. I mean, he gets. And then I think after that play, that was 3rd and 5. We didn't get it. Then we kicked the field goal, and you and I are like,
why kick the field goal?
You can't kick the field goal.
Yeah,
they had been moving the ball forever in that fourth quarter. They had just, we couldn't get to Daniels, and he was, unfortunately, he had a few good runs, which we kind of missed, unfortunately. But I thought for somebody, at one point, I thought we should have had a spy on him. But because you could see it. The whole middle of the field was wide open. He dropped back. Blitz is coming. He just takes off down the middle of the field and made some great moves. Got like a 30-yard, 40-yard run.
That's what bothered me about some of the people that like NBC Sports Philadelphia were talking about. Like, well, the defense allowed 22 points in the fourth quarter, and it's like, well, yeah, but the offense scored 6 points,
right.
And they also, after the defense got an interception, they only ran 4 plays in 55 seconds off the clock.
That was the game.
It was terrible.
When Blankenship caught that tipped ball that Slay made a great play on,
that should have been game.
And he ran it to the 20-something? 25, 30?
Let's see. We started that at the 27.
27-yard line.
Only did 5 yards. Yeah.
But again, you go back to the dropped pass. It's unfortunate. The football gods were not smiling on us today.
Yeah.
Let's reload. Let's win these next 2 games. Obviously, we're probably not going to get the home court field, but we don't need it. We just need to win.
Number one seed's out of the way.
It is. It's unfortunately, but yeah.
Yeah, let's get to the bottom line. So, bottom line, we're not going to record long. There's not much to talk about. It's like the defense, you had 5 turnovers, but people are saying the defense played bad. And you're like, well, but they had 5 turnovers.
Remember that first quarter? They were incredible.
And then it's hard to say anything bad about the offense because you're like, well, they had Pickett in, and they scored 33 points. I mean, so the Hurts was there for the first 6, first 7. So the other 26 points were without Hurts, so you're kind of like, well, that's really good.
That's really good.
But the problem is, you scored 21 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns for Saquon. 1 was Pickett. The third, just a quick little pass. But after that, how many points did we score?
No,
12
9, 12.
21 plus 12 is 33, right? Am I right?
Yeah, we should have got. especially on that one drive. It should have been touchdown or nothing. Just go for it.
So after Pickett had the ball on the 3-yard line or 4 or 5 yard line, and then Saquon had his big run, we never touched the end zone again. We just had to settle for field goals. So it's hard for me to sit here and talk bad about anybody because defense had 5 turnovers and the offense was running with Kenny Pickett.
We always talk about flipping the script. Well, the script was flipped. We finally had that first quarter that we scored 21 points in, and then the rest of the game was what we've seen we do to other teams. It was just unfortunate. They did score at the last second. One of the big things, and I'm hoping you're bringing it up, is the kickoffs. I don't understand. Their starting position seemed like it was at our 50 or the 50 every time. I just don't understand it. There was no wind. I mean, it was cold.
No, I couldn't.
I don't understand what happened, but every every kickoff was fielded at the 15 or 20-yard line.
Well, let's talk about the first one. So the first one, Braden Mann, he kicks it off, and it was short of the landing zone.
Yeah.
So the ball was placed at the 40-yard line. And you're like, okay, well, that sucks. And then on the next one, we kick off 55 yards to the Washington 10, and then Luke McCaffrey, returns it to the Philadelphia 43 for 47 yards. Yeah. And you're like, what is happening?
Do that.
Why are you doing this?
And even in one of those drives, I believe they had a fumble. Well, if it was a conventional fumble at the 30, we would have been at the 30, not our 47, and have to drive that far for a touchdown. It was just, I don't get it. I don't know what they were doing. I wish I'd hear some answers, but they were kicking him short too. But there was no wind.
But then he kicks off to the Washington 7. McCaffrey only returns it for 15 yards, so you're like, okay, well, that's all right. And then, let's see, we get a touchdown here. Let's see. There we go. That one he kicked to the 0, got to the goal line, but he returned it for 33 yards. And you're like, what? It's just it was very confusing. How many times we were like, why is it going so short? I don't understand.
And 2 special team penalties, which it seems I don't know why every single punt, what are you doing leaving the line before it's
crazy? Yeah, bad look on Sidney Brown.
Sidney Brown, I mean, we've been pumping him up here for a long time, but my goodness gracious, every week it seems like he's doing something bad,
Yeah,
getting in his own way or causing a penalty. That's bad, very bad.
But bottom line, 12-3, so it's
not the end of the
world. And like we said, this game did not. It's funny, it didn't crush my soul at all because once Hurts left, it was like, well, we're going to lose.
It's going to be tough to win this game. Yes.
One more win gives you the division.
Right.
I don't even know if we can really technically lose the 2 seed. I should probably look that up. As far as that goes with seedings and everything,
right.
I don't think we can lose the 2 seed. Especially if we win one more game, then I think we're locked in there. But I hate when they don't have the standings.
Well, because of division leaders, right? It's 4 division leaders and then the wild card. So
yeah, but I don't think we're able to lose the number 2 seed unless we, of course, lose the division. But you just got to win one more game. You win the division. You probably rest your starters in week 18. So depending on what we do next week, hopefully you just kind of beat Dallas, sweep them, and let it be over. But if you have to, then week 18, hopefully you're playing the Giants, and then you feel a little bit better.
Yeah, Barkley still had 150 yards rushing.
Yeah, it's great.
It was great to see him have that long run. It was a bummer. Then in the second half, he just had
He's bottled up.
Bottled up. Yeah,
but I think they just knew it's impossible to run when it's like, well, we know you're going to run. At that point, it was like, well, let's just run on first and second down and then hopefully we have a first down by then. And if we don't, we have to throw it.
So we're crashing the linebackers the entire game.
Oh, yeah, they knew what they were doing.
It was tough. But
no, it worked, and there's nothing, there's nothing to do.
I just thought some of the offensive line pulling maybe should have been put on hold and just block straight ahead, forward on.
Questionable play calling game for Kellen Moore. I thought it wasn't his best. I don't know how much you can blame him for that. You guys still scored 33 points and 26 without your starting quarterback. But still had that's pretty darn good for the offense. But just after that Saquon touchdown, you kicking 4 field goals.
Yeah, we needed a soul-crushing touchdown early in the third quarter, which we had that long drive, 2 pretty good long drives, and 2 field goals. And you could just feel it just wasn't happening at that point. But you need touchdowns. You can't kick field goals all the time.
Yeah. Let's talk about the injuries that happened in the game. So obviously Jalen Hurts left the game injured, and the 11th play, I believe, that was a bummer. You really thought he'd have a chance to come back in, and then it didn't happen, so that sucked. And then Lost Slay at one point, he came back in. Let's talk about a non-injury. Let's talk about C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand it. We didn't see
We
replays.
did already mention it, I guess.
I just don't see how you get thrown out of a game for talking. If he had hit somebody late, knocked somebody in the helmet, tripped somebody, anything, but for jawing, you get thrown out of a game. The NFL has to look into this. They just can't let that go. I don't care what you're doing. And if he's even for a reputation he has, Carter, he kind of has a reputation of, but he also has fun. He gets for a little push, he gets a 15-yard penalty right after a sack. Some of the penalties, it's got to change. It's got to change.
Well, I think the biggest thing that has to change is I think the coaches do need to kind of get in Carter and C.J. Gardner-Johnson's ear and kind of say, we like, we get it. We like the way you guys are and you get in their head and it's cool and everything. But we have to be aware of the fact that it's a truth. The referees don't like these guys. You know what I mean? Like,
obvious.
It's clear.
Very obvious.
Referees do not like C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
Or Carter.
They
don't draw holds on him ever.
So, you just have to kind of start realizing that and not be a fool. You can't constantly do this and put your team in bad position. Yeah. And I know it is, you could say it's BS and that's not fair and that's fine.
But it happened.
But it happened and there's a reason it happens because you are known as the guy. It's similar to the NBA. If you're an NBA fan, everyone knows when Draymond Green, when he gets ejected, it's like, yeah, well, that's because you're you.
Right.
That's how it is, and that's what C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Jalen Carter are kind of dealing with. You need to be smarter because they don't like you.
Yeah. The only other thing was they never even showed the jawing that. Now maybe he was jawing at that guy who ended up knocking his helmet off and he grabbed his face mask or did something, but they didn't show it. The next thing we see is Big Dom's walking him off the field, and you're like, that was during a commercial break, for God's sakes.
I don't know. We saw the first one. I mean, it's just with football, it's talking smack. Unless you say, I'm going to kill you, why are you allowed to punch me and then a penalty's on me? You know what I mean? Like, he punched his helmet off.
Right in front of the ref.
And then the second one, again, we didn't see what he said or did. And if he punched the guy, then sure, he needs to be ejected. But if he just said something, I mean, anything short of threat of death, why are you getting kicked out of a game?
I saw Randy Moss pull his pants down and he didn't get kicked out of the game.
NFL.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know.
There's got to be something that you just can't do that. I don't see how that works.
Yeah. And I'm not going to sit here and say, if he still played, we would have won. Like, no, but dude, like, this is kind of stupid. You know what I mean? Like, another game, kind of funny, no cornerback interceptions, but an interception for both of our safeties, which is good. Kind of pushing their possible Pro Bowl envelope for
Reed. I mean, he's just throwing around the ball. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
It is.
And CJ's was kind of right to him, which was a great catch too. But it's just amazing that we can't get a corner to pick one off.
Yeah. No, I understand. Let's talk about some of the other NFL games. Do you have anything to say about our game?
No, I don't. I think I said enough.
Yeah. Again, I didn't feel like it was a heartbreaker. It stunk, but what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, just keep on going, and we just got to win the division, and then we'll focus on the playoffs. And I'd love to play the Commanders in the playoffs. I mean, I would love to play them.
There's a few teams I'd like to play, but that would be the most satisfying.
I would love to play them again, Okay, let's talk about some other games around the NFL. The Atlanta Falcons beat the New York Giants 34-7. This was good for me because I had the Falcons defense in my fantasy. And I'll be going to the championship, I believe. I still have one more guy to play, and he has one more guy to play for tomorrow. But I'm projected 99% chance to win, so that's good. But my Falcons defense in fantasy, they had 2 pick sixes. Michael Penix had an okay day through interception. But as far as things go, Giants have probably established themselves as the worst team in the league. Looks like they're kind of on the way to locking up that number 1 pick, which stinks. As we talked about in the previous podcast, probably be drafting Shedeur Sanders, and now we have to deal with Shedeur and Jaden Daniels, 2 guys I do not want in our division at all. But that's seeming like the most likely thing to happen. But we'll see. Lions defeat the Bears. We kind of thought, the Bears, they almost beat the Lions on Thanksgiving. And this game's in Chicago. It wasn't even close. What a boring game to watch. I mean, they destroyed them. Yeah. And it just continues, man. The Lions, even though their defense has been so injured,
decimated,
their offense is just great. Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Jahmyr Gibbs, they lost David Montgomery, and Jahmyr Gibbs is still great. And all those receivers, Johnny Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, even the Patrick guy, Sam Laporta, the tight end, they got such a great offense that they're going to be hard to beat no matter how bad their defense is,
It is.
Cardinals played the Panthers. Panthers defeated them. Good to see. We've kind of gone on. I think on here and officially said that I hate the Cardinals. I will not cheer for them probably ever again unless we had to rely on them to get us to the playoffs or something.
Right.
I'm happy they lost. Nice to lose to the Panthers. Good for the Panthers. I'm tired of the Cardinals. I had Kyler Murray in fantasy in my quarterback. He played okay, but he's let me down so much that I just can't. I can't cheer for these guys. So the Rams defeated the Jets. So the Rams would be kind of our next. I think the next team to be close to. Taking the I'm sorry, what am I trying to say? Taking the second seed from us.
But they're still. What's their record?
Well, I believe right now they're. Let me see. I just
9-6.
This pushes them, I think, to 9-6. Yeah, so 9-6. So what are we right now?
12-3.
Oh, so we can't.
It's impossible.
We can't lose it. So what about the Buccaneers then? What is their record?
7-6. They were 7-6 at one point, or 6-8 at one point. They're probably 8-7.
They played tonight. Let's see. So they're 8-6 too. So okay, yeah. So we are locked in the 2 seed, unless a division loss. So unless we lose the division. So it's just
right.
Don't lose the division.
Right.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't realize that, but all right. So the Rams, they're kind of still a tough team, getting better and better. They kind of had a tough game today against the.
They threw for 110 yards, and I didn't watch the game, but that just tells me something about the team. Yeah. They're up one week and down the next, or something, because 110 yards. I mean,
surprisingly, I was playing against Puka Nacua, and I was worried, I was going to get destroyed. And I think he only had 5 catches, 50 yards, something like that.
6 yards, yes.
So not a great game from them, but they're still a pretty dangerous team if you come up against.
Well, you said maybe they ran the ball a lot. They probably didn't because they don't run that well.
I don't know.
They got Kyron, who's good, but again, we didn't see that game. So
unfortunately, the Vikings beat the Seahawks. Would like to see the Vikings lose. I don't really like the Vikings at all. Just kind of want to see them lose. I just enjoy them losing.
I think the Seahawks showed you how to beat them, though, because they sacked them about 20 times. It looked like
I know.
Darnold got beat up today bad.
Yeah. Niners lost. That's nice. Further establish, that their season's bad and done. And then tonight the Buccaneers are going to be playing the Cowboys. And then tomorrow the Saints and Packers. So 2 pretty big NFC games for the night games this weekend. And the nice thing about us losing, I'll only say the biggest positive, Cowboys officially have been eliminated from playoffs, so that's cool. I guess us losing kind of helped that, so maybe they lost on purpose just to do that. You could hope for that. My buddy Tevin was pretty mad. He kept on saying, you guys got to win, or we have a chance. And it was always kind of like, no, what do you
really want to get in the playoffs and get whacked?
Do you really want to pretend you have a chance to go to the playoffs?
That's just.
Yeah. But so we'll see them. We'd like to see them get destroyed by the Buccaneers tonight, even though we're also not really big fans of the Buccaneers. But anything else you got to say about football? Or
I was glad to see Nolan Smith get a sack today.
It's true.
I was afraid they were going to take it away because Carter bumped that guy and he fell backwards.
He would have had 2 sacks.
15-yard penalty.
He would have had 2 sacks.
Oh,
because they hit another one later.
Oh, okay.
He would have had. I
think for sure that one was the only one we got, because we surely did not get the Daniels like I was hoping.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it was just that one. But after the stat sheet, I was looking, and it didn't show it on there. But maybe they updated it later.
Yeah, the biggest problem I had, I hate it when you're 2 steps from getting Jaden Daniels, and he gets to throw that little weak pass at somebody's feet 50 yards away, and it doesn't count as grounding. That kind of bothers me.
That's the biggest cheat code that quarterbacks know. And that's something that, unfortunately, our
quarterback doesn't do that.
Jalen Hurts doesn't do that.
That's right.
You hate what your guy doesn't do because you're like, but – if Jalen Hurts was about to get sacked and he threw the ball at a running back's foot from 5 yards away, that's better than losing 10 yards. I would be okay with it, but I just hate that. It's funny, they always talk about, the tush push. It's not good for the sport of football, but that to me is not good for the sport of football at all.
There should be something where it's got to be within 3 feet, 5. I don't know. I'm just saying. I just hate it because we had 2 or 3 of them today, and we didn't get the sack. And they just. Next play, and you're like, well, what about this?
It's the biggest cheat code quarterback.
It is.
All right, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. If you like our Eagles Therapy podcast, do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Comment down below any of your thoughts on the game, whether you're an Eagles fan or not. The nice thing about the Eagles losing, we always mention, is usually when we get more views because we get other teams coming in to hate and everything like that. So that's kind of fun. Maybe we'll see what happens there. You can email us your questions at oureaglestherapy@gmail.com. But other than that, from all of us here at Our Eagles Therapy Podcast, I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
Go Birds.
Fly, Eagles, fly.